A few times over the last month, I do have a prepared speech, to put together a long prepared speech that made some sense of my almost 40 years of military experience. Moreover, a speech that would give some advice, some great advice to younger troops, which all of you are. I think there's probably only two other people in here older than I am. And I do want to thank those people. I'm missing you, okay? I'm going right over to, and he hasn't been called this in years, but Petty Officer Schatz. Mike, you can stand up real quick and turn around. Mike was my first, he was my first roommate and kind of supervisor in the Coast Guard many, many years ago. So we went out. I'm real glad. Thank you, Mike. And he lives in the area, and we've been good friends well, since those days, 1976 in the Coast Guard down at Beach Haven, New Jersey. So, and also another person that's older than me, and I guess the oldest person in the house, Papa, Charles Mattis. And I really got to say thanks to my father-in-law, Chot. When I am on TDYs, or especially when I was deployed for 6 months, talk about always stepping up and mowing the lawn at 70 years old, mowing the lawn, because none of these kids are, would do it. But anyway, that's another thing. He's only 70. Let him go out there and mow the lawn. Yeah, a big thank you to Chuck. And
my pleasure, Stan. My pleasure.
I have another guest here, John Meyer, who absolutely did nothing for me while I was gone. I think he swam in my swimming pool a few times while I was gone. But sorry, John. John's not older than me, so but thank you so much, John, for coming up for this little ceremony. So thank you. So here we go. But you know what? Trying to put together that long speech with lots of advice was next to impossible. So what I did was put together a short version with just a little bit of advice. And here we go. Do not wait until you're almost 60 to retire. Enjoy your military experience and get everything out of it that you can, which I think and I know I did. However, get out before you're 50. Another thing, if you embrace change, well, I think you're kind of full of it. However, that said, deal and cope with change the best you can. Believe me, if you stay in long enough, or too long like I did, someday someone is going to come up with something worse than DTS. And you will have to deal with it because it will never go away until way after you retire. My wish for all you younger airmen, and I mean no offense to this military personnel fight, but I have to say this. My wish for younger airmen is that you handle change better than I feel I did with my tenure in the military. I still struggle with the hostile takeover of services they call FSS, and the idea that they can come down here and eat at 11. But again, no offense. I'm just teasing a little bit here. So please handle change with less bitterness than I obviously have. So let me end this speech by quoting someone famous. At age 20, you worry what others think of you. At age 40, you start not to care what others think of you. And like me, at age 60, well, you discover that they haven't been thinking about you at all. So anyhow, what I'm trying to say is enjoy and appreciate your time, for most of you being young, and in the Air National Guard, and in the Air Force, and have a great experience in the military like I did, well, most of the time. In closing, I just want to say thanks to everyone here for being part of my military journey and experience, and to everyone who supported my family and me throughout my Coast Guard and Air National Guard career. Thank you, everybody.